Nothing really new here to report on the SPYs. They did fail in the open at 255.5 yesterday. Came down and people were bidding right around 255. Closed up, not quite at the high, but almost at the high. This morning, the pre-market not moving. Still consolidating above 255. IWM, that was a little tricky, actually. I did short the spike above 150 right here, and then it had that little extra spike, which caused me to believe that it would not go back down to support like it's done the last 5 out of the last 6 days, 8 of the last 10 or something like that. But it did, and touched the low from a few days ago. So I mean, it's quite remarkable. I've never seen anything like this in IWM. Usually so much more out of control. But for the suppressed volatility, that was a big move from 150.30 to 149.10. I'm still holding the puts that I bought that expire Friday. I really do need this to go down closer to 148 to make some money. 148.60 to 148.30, and then maybe cover half and then see. So that's that. So we're getting into earnings season. Things were really busy today. I didn't, I had to cut off some things that otherwise I might have discussed. If they're okay, but what you want to do is kind of listen closely to the things I'm talking about. Hopefully there'll be a couple that work really well for you. But if there's one or two other things that you find that I didn't talk about, that I don't talk about, that's absolutely fine as well. Things get very busy during earnings season. There's going to be value in the morning meeting, as always, but there's going to be things that you might find that I just don't, get to, which is fine as well. So for today, we're starting with Netflix. Not that everyone should be trading this, but it is one of the 3 or 4 momentum stocks left in the market, and it has the potential to make 5-10% moves after earnings. So we like to talk about it. If we look at it right now, it did run up from 180 to 200 coming into earnings. So it was clearly being bought into earnings. You can see this kind of move here, then it moved sideways for about a week. Then it was scooped up again into earnings. The numbers came out. They crushed the numbers on international subscriber growth. You can see already some people are starting to do the sell the news, which you can really get some moves down, pretty severe moves to the downside. Not that I'm calling for that to happen, but we've seen that happen many times. Thinking a few years ago in Netflix, when it gapped up on amazing earnings, it came off like 15%. And that was because Icon was selling a large portion of his stake that day. He's no longer in the stock. He got flatted, I think, when I got to 100. So he's been out of it for the last 100 points. But it has that potential to really come off on, even on good numbers, if it's run up enough. So let's zoom in. Yeah, if I wasn't prepared for the morning meeting talking to you guys, but below 206, 205 would initiate a short position. We'll see if it pops back up there on the open. Let's zoom in. So after hours went to 210, came off, closed right at 205, lower high in the pre-market today, 207. Came off hard from 207 to the 204 area. Popped up one more time before the volume really came in here at 8 o'clock. So 206 to 207, if it were to pop there right on the open, that certainly would be your money type short. What you want to see kind of pop up to this area here would be it getting back down below 205 and holding. That would be your confirmation, and then you just play it down. And so far the pre-market low is 202. Natural support is going to be in the 198 to 200 level. So I'm going to step out one more time and move on. Yeah, so wasn't above 190 until this run up into the earnings. So, I see no reason why it should go all the way back down to 190. The only reason that would happen is some of the bigger sellers taking advantage of this up move, and then if the bull gets rolling, and if it took out 198 and you started to get some stops hit, I'd probably go with 194 as worst case scenario in terms of if there was some major profit taking today. But I've been known to be conservative. And of course, on the open, if it does that quick, thing that Netflix and Tesla and Nvidia and the momentum stocks do, where it flushes below 200, and the bids are stepping in there in the 198s, you want to buy it because it can bounce 4 to 6 points pretty easily, and we'll go from there. So I'm sure Shark will be trading it. And keep an eye on him. I will be trading it as well, probably not nearly as actively. The next one is Morgan Stanley. MS last quarter treated us really well, I think. This one and Goldman kind of blew out the numbers. A lot of times with the banks, because there's so many mark-to-market and weird things going on with these financials, they will their earnings will be way off from whatever the estimates are. In this case, both these guys, Morgan and Goldman, beat by a lot. It hasn't been up above 50 since the financial crisis. So, I mean, this thing was down like, I don't know, between 10 and 15 when that South Korean bank gave them bailout cash. It's done a really nice job since it got above 40. It came down and tested a couple of times right above 40, and now it looks like it might want to try to break out above 50 here. It's going to be tough, I think. I don't even want to use any of the levels back from during the financial crisis. Just too long ago. Players have changed. So here you can see recently it did get above 50 back on October 6th. It gapped up the next morning and was sold there. So absolutely can play it for a potential failure at 50. I'd play it for a move probably down to 49.20 to 49.35, something like that, and then kind of see. Move on. They're on the conference call right now. It looks like based on what my platform is saying. UNH. So UNH was down a few days ago. I don't know if that was the Trump executive order canceling the reimbursement payments to the insurers. But you can see it bounced quite a bit back up to 192 and then was bought yesterday coming into earnings. Numbers came out. The guidance, I say on the gut. Yeah, I mean, it was a 1.5% raise, so not that big a deal. So let's see where it is in relation to its daily. Oh. So yeah, that's a pretty good uptrend. Yeah, I mean, these health insurers just seem to keep on doing really well. God bless them. So, and I guess over the last few months, since July, this kind of 189 to 191 area is the spot where it's holding up. Never see it close below this area here. It's not going to be good. But this morning, the bids, wow, it's already above 196. What did I put on for resistance on this? 196, 196.30, then 197.50. It's at 197.50 right now. The conference call must be going well. I get 197.50, I see. I got 197.50 by it. It's supported here for a while. Very tempted to short it here right now. So I guess 195 would be the natural. So look at this area right here, right on the open for this one. Unfortunate thing with a lot of these New York listed names, they do a lot less volume in the pre-market than a NASDAQ, a tech name, so you can't really get that good of a feel on 30,000. I mean, they walked it up on 30,000 shares. Normally it trades 3 million. So if we had 400,000 shares, we could say a little bit more about how interested people were really buying it up at these prices. So I'm operating under the assumption that some sellers will come in right on the open, and 195 would be the most reasonable place to think that it could drop to before buyers would really step in aggressively. Let's move on to IPXL. IPXL is in a merger agreement. I spent time looking at the terms of the deal. It was a little bit complicated, the structure, so I can't really give you a strong opinion certainly it didn't. It's not like one of those mergers we looked at recently where it was a slam dunk short based on the risk arb funds. In this case, um, they did, as part of the deal, issue some shares, 48 million shares, I think, to Fidelity at 18 and a quarter. So that's right there. And it did come off on some volume. I was thinking buy it into 1750 and make a play back up to 18 quarter to 1850. That's kind of the trade I was looking at there. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Um, that was the thought on the trade. I'll throw in Hog. I didn't put it on the sheet, but my thought on Hog was, where did I put it myself? On the daily, 45 set. Yeah, it's below. So this is this. So it's setting up as a short. This like, it's held up right here on the daily. This is like really big support in the daily. It's below that now. So it pops up here and they're selling. You want to short this. I think the next support area is down in like 43 and a half or something like that. If it gets back up this longer term support, the market opens, it's holding above 46, then that's fine. You can look for it to bounce. EXEL. So EXEL, wow. This was the number one thing we talked about yesterday in the morning meeting, was offered a lot of opportunity. Initially, I tried to short it in front of 30 right on the open, but saw the buying pressure and flipped it to long. You can kind of see where I flipped it to long. Once it broke through here, I just put in a bid, 30, 10, 30, 15, something like that. And you can see it held. I just put in a stop down here, and it exploded to the upside, got flat into this this move right here, into this wick, and then it made the new high, and then that started kind of the quick reversal where it came off a buck and change, covered right here at 31.30. Wasn't watching it, just put in a script to cover it. It did make a lower high, eventually at around 11:30. Again, I was off the desk already. It didn't really become a good short in terms of like reversal candidate until this initial pullback from the high got taken out and it consolidated below it. So no issues with trading it on the short right here. Once it was holding below 31.30, or moved to here. And then they went all in on the reversal because it came into 30.50 where it had kind of supported for this final up leg. And once it took that out, it just went back down to the opening price. So, I mean, it was really strong on the open, went up a couple of dollars, and then ended up coming off all the way back down $3. So intraday moved like about $6, $7. It was very liquid, so some good money there. The way I'm looking at it today is I would be looking at 28.65, 28.90 as support, potentially for it to pop back up to 29.5, 30. Mainly because this is a lot of buying here. And we'll see what would happen at the 30 level. And then, of course, on the short side, below 28.60, I'd really want to see it holding, like do something like go down this, come back up here, and see the selling, right here. And I play it, the move like that. HIIQ, this was the easiest trade of the day yesterday. I just put in a bid in front of $20. Bought it here right in the open, never got stopped, and it just completely reversed. I sold it into here. Got back up to this resistance from the pre-market, 22, and failed. So this was another one. Most of the things we talked about, they all worked that I got involved in, but this was the cleanest. 1 out of 4 times usually I get something that goes right to your buy area, just moves off of it, consolidates, goes higher. Very clean. For today, this 2070 was bought here on the way up, and also when it pulled back in the afternoon. So 2070, you want to look to see if it gets bought there again. DHC, we're trying to short this on the open. This is, unfortunately, I didn't get the prints up here in the pre-market, and I lost track of it, but did come all the way back down to the low from the prior day, where certainly it was worth giving it a shot on the long side. Didn't bounce much, only bounced 30 cents, but 6 to 6 1/4, buying it here, that makes sense to me. I'd be looking for a move back up to 6.85 to 7 right here. Our firm is still net short. It was sold all day yesterday. Let's go back to the 30-minute just to see what the. Yeah, I mean, this 6 to 6:30 is where it broke out from a couple weeks ago. Could go a little bit lower than that. 575, 580. TGTX. So TGTX. Oh, this was another actually pretty easy one, I thought. I shorted this at 10 yesterday. Right on the open, it spiked up there. It never held above. Here's the 5-minute. Right on the open, got the 10s, and then it wouldn't break down, and I never really looked at it the rest of the day. I think I had to stop above 1020, 1030. And then when it came down below 9.5, I started to cover some. We talked about this kind of news didn't really look that bad, but the initial reaction was down. So if it came back up and failed in the 10 area, maybe it would come down and test that 8.5 to 9. So I'm still short a few shares. We'll see on the open what it does in the 9 area if it comes in. In the afternoon, it couldn't hold above 950 really as well if you want to look to try to capture a short there. That's it. As I mentioned yesterday, as we get into earnings season, the things that you prepare for most, you have to give them a chance. You got to stay with them. Don't jump around. It's okay to, if you see someone trading something in real time or somebody put something in the chat, to look at it. If it sets up the way that you like, one of your trading setups, that's fine. But you do not want to move away from things that you mentally prepared for, came up with detailed trading plans, and then miss them. You don't want to do that. That's where you have a big edge. For me, I can only look at a couple of things at a time. And so, I had scripts to get short TGTX. I had stuff to get long HIIQ. So that's how I make sure that I'm not going to miss things. If I have a really good idea of where it can be, there's going to be some supplier demand. I'll put those scripts in to get me long or short. Won't go all in, but it will catch my attention when the script fires and I start to get into the stock. I can look at it and add to it if I want manually.
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important? And how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.